Okay. Welcome back. Solo roll Mangging. Shadowdark. It's going pretty well, you know, after that, after our initial foray into the first dungeon where we lost our whole party in like the first fight, the new crew has been pretty resilient. Despite rolling 3d6 down the line, whereas the first crew rolled much higher stats. So stats, yes, I acknowledge, they're not everything. Luck plays a significant part in a d20 system, and it's also just kind of like once the ball starts rolling and you gain more power, it does become a little trickier to die. Also much scarier to die. Because I feel like if this crew bites it, that's probably the end of the campaign. Really. I don't think I'd pick it up from there. I mean, you could. Of course you could. But I think that would probably be the end point. So, yeah, I mean, still not characters that I really love and prefer or anything. I still think Denton is just essentially a useless character. The only saving grace is that he got sleep. That's pretty much it. Other than sleep, he is quite shit. Grim is obviously useful because it's kind of hard to be a shitty fighter, I guess. You just stack on a bunch of armor, especially as a dwarf, pretty much ensures that he's going to have a good amount of HP, and then he gets his scaling bonuses to attacks, and that's all he does, and yeah, thankfully, he's got a good weapon, and all is well. And then Clara, you know, just by nature of being a cleric, had Denton been just a standalone wizard, he would have been better as well. Because spells are good. Cure wounds, insanely useful. Turn undead, in the right cases, insanely useful. Blind deafen, really fucking useful. And then Norbert, yeah, you know, he's okay. He'd probably be better as just a fighter as well. But, oh yeah, he's a halfling. I always forget that. He can go invisible. Shit, see, that's why, fuck. I want that listed as a fucking ability. I'm never going to remember that because I have too many characters. And usually I leave it on this ability screen. So I don't know if I can... No, they're not going to let me show it on the ability screen. That's really lame. Yeah, I'm never going to remember that. Alright, anyways, I completely forgot he was a halfling. Whoops. Anyways, though, last time we finished up with the whole Necromancer saga, bringing a small army of mercenaries to battle and horrifically mismanaging them on an open battlefield with no plan of any kind, and just basically our plan was to throw bodies at the problem, and we did, and we solved it, but that strategy does not win you hearts and minds, that's for sure. Especially when it's men that you have hired and paid to just do this. And it's not like, you know, it's not like, okay, these are my men, this is my army, and we're defending our homeland from a grave threat, and it's like, yeah, this is what's going to happen. This is like, I hired them to march off for a couple days and fight a battle that they really had no interest in fighting. And loads of them got killed. And had I just hired more men and had more money and had better stuff, we probably could have prevented that kind of bloodbath. So yeah, not so hot. But now we've been called back to the issue with Saltmarsh, or in our case, Baileythorpe, because the smugglers, we're not done. We took out the ground crew, but now there's still their big smuggling ship, the Sea Ghost. So the plan is that a couple of local sailors, a fisherman and his brother, are going to patrol the waters near the cave in search of when this ship is going to show up again. And then they're going to let us know that the ship has been sighted, so that we can then launch some sort of boarding process. So we need to figure out now how the logistics of these various steps. So first is, how are the two men going to notify us that the ship has arrived out at sea? I don't know. Kind of tricky. Because pretty much as soon as the ship arrives, it sends out a signal to the smugglers in the cave, and then that has to be responded to relatively quickly. And so we kind of have to be on site. So I feel like we're probably going to be staying in the smuggler cave, because that would make the most sense. And there's like beds there and stuff. We can just kind of take over the smuggling cave for the moment. And then this is all going to happen at night. So every evening, we can just kind of sit in that little cave out to the water and watch. And really, we don't even need the men to signal us, because we'll see the ship. I would imagine that's how that works. So then there's the matter of what to do when the ship arrives and it sends out a signal to us. Now, I think it's pretty reasonable for us to figure out this system of symbols. And despite what the new version says, I would say this is short, long, 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 short, twice, and then short, short, short. And I assume it's just a simple call and response. So, arrangement is for someone aboard the ship to flash the first signal up to 3 times within a period of 1 minute. The shore party would reply with the second signal and would flash this twice, whereupon the third signal would be flashed once only from the ship. So they send the first signal, then the party in the cave sends the second signal, and then the third is from the ship again. Now, would we think to do it in that order, or would we think that they send the first signal, we send the first signal back? I don't think that really would make any sense, because then that's a pretty crackable thing of just, like, repeat what they do. So, yes, it probably makes the most sense to just follow up with the second signal. And do it twice, because it's indicated that. So honestly, I think it's pretty reasonable that we would be able to figure that out, and players might be able to figure that out. Not all groups, probably. And interestingly, it's not even guaranteed that you'll see the symbol or the signal. Local men in the fishing boat each have a 20% chance per signal burst to see the first signal. Party members, whether in the house, on the cliff, or in the cave, must first indicate to the DM by their words and their behavior that they are indeed actively looking for the vessel. If they're not, they have no chance to see it, otherwise a 15% chance each per signal burst. And so they're going to they're going to send the first signal 3 times every 10 minutes for an hour. So chances are we're probably going to notice it. And I think the local men in the boat, if they see it, they'll send their own lantern signal back to the cave, so that the ship can't see it or anything. But we will probably be able to see it. And then we can return with the second signal. So that should all be pretty good. Then we have to decide what we're going to do once we send the 3 signals, because that indicates to them that the ship's going to drop their kind of lifeboat or whatever, their little boat, and the 2 vessels would alternate in carrying the contraband ashore. So once we respond with the proper signal, they're going to put out a boat and start shipping contraband to shore. We don't know that. We can't really know that. And I hesitate to even say that would be anyone's assumption or anything. Maybe someone might think that it would be just back and forth with 2 boats, I'm sorry. But I think most groups would just assume, okay, we're going to now row out on the boat to the boat in order to collect all the contraband. So I think at that point, once we send the signal, we're all going to get in the boat and we're going to start sailing towards the ship. And we're probably going to see the other boat on the way, and we'll have to deal with it there, hopefully pretty quietly. Because then we're going to board the ship. A lot of details here. So basically, it depends on how quiet we approach and what side of the ship we approach from. Because they're going to be kind of watching the smuggler ship. Or they're going to be watching the cave in that direction. And it's really dark, so they can't see the cave itself. That's why they're signaling with lanterns, So they can't see the cave or anything, but they're watching from that side of their ship. So if we go around the other side, we can sneak up behind them and, jump them. I think it's reasonable enough that someone would assume that would be the case. Whether or not they think of it, that's another ball entirely. And then, depending on other precautions that you take about your quietness. I don't know what a muffled row lock is. Oh, for the oars. That's true. That is noisy. That is true. So if you've taken all the precautions and everything and you come on the other side and you're just incredibly quiet, then it's automatic. Like, there's no chance for them to detect you. If you come from the main side, no matter what you do, they're going to see you coming, and so it's a guaranteed detection. Then, depending on if you come from the other side and you're not entirely stealthy, then there might be a roll to see if they hear you. If you are make a direct approach, you might be able to bluff your way aboard with some story. If it's reasonably convincing, allow them a 65% chance or greater of being believed up to the point when the first 3 members of the party actually get aboard via a rope ladder. Once these 3 are aboard, the deception will automatically be discovered. Detected approach will mean that the entire crew will attempt to repel boarders with the utmost vigor. Noise of a carrier. Okay, yeah, you might fall, blah, blah, blah. There is a smuggler in the crow's nest. There's a lot of details here to really run this. Running it quite, realistically and trying to think of everything and putting it all in the text. Pretty interesting. Yeah, I mean, you could just say fuck it and just, like, launch, or just sail out there and then just, like, throw oil on the side of it and light it on fire. And if you light it enough, I mean, it's just going to burn down, because that is pretty bad for ships on the sea. So you could just throw, like, fire pots on it. Call it a day. But you're going to sink all the treasure as well. So depending on how you feel about that, I'd certainly give XP for defeating the enemies and resolving the situation, but you're not going to get any treasure out of it. So, hard to say. Alright, so yeah, well, okay. Let's do some oracle rolls here to see what exactly my crew thinks of. So do we figure out the signaling system well enough? And we'll make this likely. Okay, we got that. Then it's, do we think to go around behind the ship instead of a direct approach? And we'll just say this is 50-50. We do. Okay, good. Do we think to, like, somehow muffle our row locks? And, I don't know how you would do that, like shoving cloth in there or something. I'm not quite sure, so it doesn't rattle when you're rowing. I'd say this is unlikely. Okay, we do think to that. All right. Pretty impressive. So, we're about as stealthy as we can get without, like, a silence spell. So, our odds should be pretty good. And then it says for actually boarding it, the most obvious method is to climb the anchor chain. It will be relatively, easy for relatively unencumbered characters. No chance of slipping and falling. Well, for characters with heavy gear, there'll be a 10 to 25% chance of slipping and falling into the sea, which will be heard unless it's covered by a silent spell. You could also try climbing onto any of the 3 deck areas through either or both of the open portholes in the stern, or even onto the bowsprit. Bowsprit. What is this word? I think I'm a nautical man.
Bowsprit.
Bowsprit. It's the spar extending forward from a ship's bow. Typically held down by a bobstay. Okay. Yeah, so it's the big front of the ship that sticks out. That's what it is. Anyone climbing up the rigging will probably 70% chance be noticed and fired on by the smuggler in the crow's nest. Climbing up the rigging. I mean, you could throw, like, a grappling hook onto the side, but that's going to be heard. I mean, that is not silent, and there's no way to really make it silent. You could maybe have our thief just do something like this and just, like, a free climb. Well, he's climbing up the anchor chain. Yeah, I guess the anchor chain is basically what we're looking for. That makes the most sense. If not, then our thief, Norbert, would have to do some sort of free climb situation and just hook a grappling hook on at the top silently so that the rest could climb the rope. But we'll probably just climb the anchor chain. It makes most sense. And then from there, we just be as quiet as possible, knock people out, hopefully with the sleep spell, and slit everyone's throat and save the day. That's what we're going to do. Okay. So, Torsen will just remain behind. He's not really needed here. He does have all the oil flasks, which we could take if we wanted to burn the ship down, but hopefully it doesn't come to that, because we're going to be on the ship. And we shouldn't really need his light or anything, because it should be illuminated by lanterns around the ship anyways. Okay, so let's get to it. We'll skip forward in time a few days. Until the ship arrives, and it sends the first signal burst. So this is going to happen 3 times within a minute. So first, the local men each get a 20% chance. Okay, so one guy, no. The other guy, no. We each then, let's say, probably half of us are watching at any given time. We each get a 15% chance. No and no. Okay, so they get no response the first time, but they can't be... I mean, yeah, the odds of someone seeing it the first time they send the signal is pretty unlikely. Because, I mean, there's no cell phones. It's not like they know that they're going to be arriving or anything, so that's why they send it a bunch of times. So now, in that same minute, the second burst for the first sailor, he sees it now. He got it. So now he sends the return signal to the group, which, you know, he's much closer. So this is a much more obvious light. And again, whether he has a bullseye lantern himself or he's kind of shielding the light with his body, you know, the ship doesn't really see this. I'll give our 2 guys a 50% chance to see it. But also they get the 15% chance for the regular one. So no and no. And then for the second one, 50% chance. No and no. Okay. So then, the third burst for our guys, the 15%, no, yes. So now we actually see the one from the ship, and yeah, we probably see the one from the sailors as well. So now we're going to send the return signal, number 2, which we figured out. And then they send back the third signal, and we're good to go. So now we climb aboard our little boat, and we start rowing in with the muffled rowlocks. So our plan is to go around the other side, but I think pretty quickly we're going to see... I don't know, it's really dark out. I don't know what we would see. I really am not sure what we would see. Eventually we'd probably hear and or see the other boat. It says here that it takes... The journey direct to the ship takes 30 to 40 minutes. And then another 5. So this is a half-hour trip. So this is really far out to sea. That's why the signaling is, like, really faint. So you're not going to see much. So probably about 20 minutes in, or 25 minutes in to our journey. Now we see in the near... distance the other boat coming this way, and this was unplanned for. So I don't know how many are going to be in there. I don't think it says. But probably also just a couple of guys, because this is supposed to just be a couple of us going out. And there are, in fact, 4 of us, so that's already going to be pretty alarming. And I don't really know if we would think that there'd be only 2 of us. But that's obviously their usual arrangement, so I don't think we'd, like, duck down or anything. Which means that as soon as they see 4 guys heading out there, it's gonna be trouble. So it's sort of a matter of, like, are we quick enough to put a stop to them before they can, like, shout for help? So I think this is going to come down to, like, an initiative roll, unfortunately. Like, we kind of look up at them, you know, as they approach, as we come within, like, near distance. And they see that there's 4 of us instead of 2. And we can see kind of the alarm on their faces, like something is wrong. And we see them, like, about to shout for help or shout that something's wrong and, you know, they're whatever. So now we roll initiative against them to see if we can shut them down first. So Norbert's roll is going to be a critical failure. Alright, well now the jig is up. There's no re-rolling that or anything. So they go first. Now this is 20 minutes away from the ship. Would they even be able to hear shouts for help? Or shouts for, like, that something's wrong? Or would they just hear a shout, maybe, and it's just indiscernible? I don't know. What is the average rowing speed? Small rowing boat can typically reach speeds of 3 to 4 knots. 3.5 to 4.6 miles per hour. Okay, so in 20 minutes then, at that speed, let's say 4 miles per hour, they've done a third of that, which is like 1.3 miles. There's no way that ship can hear anything. No one's shouting and heard a mile away, even at night. Under ideal conditions, up to 590 feet for a normal male shout. Apparently there's special techniques, and there's like this whistling language that can be heard up to kilometers away or something like that. Yeah, but these are just normal dudes, so I think we probably can rule out the ship actually hearing anything. I mean, they'll shout regardless. But as for their weaponry, I don't... What are we really looking at here? Go down to the smugglers. They're armed with short sword and dagger. Smuggler number 4 on the forecastle carries a light crossbow. Smuggler number 8 has a short bow and 8 arrows. I don't think they would be the ones to go, though. Why would they bring ranged weaponry on this boat? They're packing pretty light, so... Yeah, I don't think they have much. They probably are just spending their turns turning the boat around to try to get back to the ship because something's wrong, obviously. So that would be their turn, and then it's our turn. And the question is, are we within range to cast Sleep? Which is near distance. Well, I guess Grim will shoot his longbow, which he is terrible with. But, you know, it's better than nothing. Yeah, the arrow goes very wide. I don't think Norbert... Oh, Norbert has the short bow, so he'll shoot that just for fun. Okay, he hits one for a couple damage. Are we within range of sleep? I said that we were within a near distance when they noticed. 30 feet or whatever. Which maybe is way too close, but that's what I ruled it as. And then they turned the boat around, but I don't know. I assume... I guess probably we go to the Oracle. We'll make it 50-50. Are we within near distance still? We are. Alright, thank God. I'm gonna cast Sleep. Success. Alright, they're asleep. And they just slump over in their boat, sleeping. And their boat does have a bunch of contraband on it. So I suppose, like, what are we going to do? Are we just going to leave this boat here? Are we going to leave them here? I mean, we're probably just going to slit their throats, right? So we'll row over to where their boat is, and Norbert will climb in and do the dirty work. And then contraband. I don't know. I assume it talks about what contraband is around. Somewhere. Oh, it does say here that the dash is a long flash and the X is a short flash. It's insane. Is this standard? Is this some sort of standard Morse code signaling? That just... Of X's? I've never heard of it. But this is a British module. Maybe it's different over there. Maybe they use X's and dashes and it's just like known. I don't know. I've never... yeah, I don't know. Never heard of it. If I search Morse code signals or something, like, you know. Like, in this setting, would this be, like, a known thing? Or I don't know. I don't think so. But it's not based on what your characters know, clearly. It's based on what the players can figure out. And I don't know why any player would assume that it works this way. So it's just weird. Anyways, we're skipping over that fact. I don't really see a... I don't really see a list of, like... Okay, well, here's the cargo hold. 90 bolts of silk. 304 casks. That's it. They deal in silk and casks, which contain brandy, fine wine, a little bit of scented soap, and 1 salt. Okay, so basically, yeah, however many trips it takes for them to move that, however much is on each boat, we're looking at, you know, certainly a handful of silk bolts, and then probably, like, 10 casks of various goods. You know, these little ships can only handle so much, so... Whatever, it's still bolts of silk and casks, as usual. If we could somehow alert the other guys, the sailors, but honestly, I think they're gone. I don't think we really use them for any purpose. So, I don't think they're with us, and I think this is just sitting here, and I guess we'll just let it float. And it'll probably just go out to sea or crash or who knows what, but we're ignoring it for now. And we will continue on quietly. So we're gonna sail around back, spend the extra 5 minutes to sail around back. quiet as can be. And, there is still a slight chance of detection because we don't have a silence spell. So we will make it like a 10% chance that we're heard approaching from the rear or from the port side. So we'll just roll 1d100, 10%. No, okay, so they don't hear us. So now we're gonna climb the anchor chain. And this is based on encumbrance. The thing is, we're all incredibly encumbered. I think no one is unencumbered, especially with my armor changes and just how much shit we're carrying. And, these things. So how do I rule this? Let's just do, I mean, it's kind of a weird system to do, but we'll just say a 25% chance of failure and then minus 5% for every open slot you have. Okay. So Norbert has no chance of failure. He's the least encumbered. Grim actually has only a 5% chance of failure, despite having the heaviest armor on. He doesn't really carry much of anything else, so he's actually not too bad. And you could base this just on the armor you're wearing, but I think using our encumbrance is a better system. And then Denton has 2 slots, so he has a 15% chance of failure. And Clara has the 25%. So we'll roll for Grim first. Well, we'll roll for Norbert first. He's going to climb up. He's the least encumbered, so he sneaks aboard. No problem. Grim, 5%. He rolls a 1. I rolled a 1 on a D100. We're going to spend our luck token on that, so that's gone. He's going to re-roll. Okay, Grim's... Jesus Christ. Had to give up that. That sucks. Then Denton has the 15%. He's fine. And then Clara, 25%. She's fine. Okay, excellent. So we all get aboard. A little iffy there, but we get aboard. And we see some sailors, some smugglers in front of us. I think I talked about... So, obviously there's a fixed number here. There's a fixed number of smugglers and stuff, and we want to keep track of that. So there's Captain Snake Eyes, 5th level fighter, good god. Bloody Bjorn, 3rd level fighter, the mate. The first mate, obviously, you know. Yeah. And then there's the bosun, 3rd level fighter. And then there's 8 others. We've already taken care of 2 of them. So we're down to 6 normal smugglers. But then there's also the, there's a magic user, Punkata, and 3 lizard men aboard. As well as a pseudo-dragon. What the fuck is going on this ship? Let's read the main deck. Though the light is not good, you can see that this is the ship's main deck. In the center, forward of the mast, is a jolly boat, apparently lashed to the deck with ropes. After the mast... So I don't think that would be true. After the mast is a raised area, perhaps something lying on the deck or a hatchway to the below decks area. In the corners, formed by the forward upper deck and the port rail, and by the aft upper deck and the starboard rail, there appear to be smallish objects lying on the deck. Aft of the area, provisionally identified as a hatchway, you can see a diagonal line going upwards, presumably a rope ladder to a crow's nest above. Leaning against the rail, about midway along this deck, are 2 human fighters. They appear to be staring towards the coast. Between them and at deck level is what appears to be perhaps a roll of cloth, canvas, or rope. To fore and aft below the upper decks are vague outlines of doors. You can also see ladders which lead to the upper decks, the aft one on the port side, the forward one on the starboard. Boy, oh boy. There's no way, okay, there's no fucking way that the new version for 5th edition has this description. Because that is gibberish to 90% of people. 95% of people. Probably even more than that, really. I mean, that is just crazy. So let's read the main deck description for the new version. Here we go. Though the light is dim at best, you can see details of the ship's main deck. In the center, forward of the mast, a jolly boat is lashed to the deck with ropes. Aft of the mast is a hatch to the below decks area and a rope ladder climbing to a crow's nest above. 2 human figures lean against the rail mid-deck, staring toward the coast. Between them at deck level is a roll of canvas or rope. To fore and aft, below the upper decks, stand vague outlines of doors. You can also see ladders that lead to the upper decks, the aft one on the port side, the forward one on the starboard. Okay, well, I stand a little corrected. They kept a lot of the same terminology, and I suppose, to be fair, that's how you have to describe it, because that's how you describe a ship. Because there's no compass directions at sea or, well, on a ship or anything. Everything is port, starboard, fore, and aft. So fore is the front of the ship, aft the back of the ship, port is the left side of the ship, starboard the right side of the ship. And it's not like complicated or anything like that. It's just like, to a lot of people, it's just kind of unfamiliar terms you never use or hear. Forward of the behind the mast. Sorry. Behind the mast is a hatch to the below decks area. And a rope ladder climbing to a crow's nest above. To the forward and the rear, below the upper decks, stand vague outlines of doors. You can also see ladders that lead to the upper decks, the rear one on the left side, the forward one on the right side. And I think it's just a lot easier if you have a map. So if we go to the deck plan here, you can see the upper deck in the main deck. So here you have stairs leading up to the front of the ship, upper deck. Here you have stairs leading to the upper deck of the rear of the ship. You have 3 doors that all lead down into the ship, and then you also have this hatch as well. I guess maybe that little boat is there. Oh yeah, you have a lot of doors actually on the main level. There's technically 7 doors plus the 2 stairs. And then there's also the crow's nests. And the rope ladder for that is behind the mast. So, okay, so yeah, it's basically next to the hatch. There's a rope ladder going up to the crow's nest. And so we have climbed aboard on this rear side. No, we're on the port side. I think, yeah, we climbed this chain right here. So aren't we on the upper deck? And so we see these guys down here on the port side. Or I don't know. I don't remember what side. They're on the starboard side looking out. We come behind on the port side, and we're on the upper deck, I think. Pretty sure. Dungeon Master must keep in mind that the smugglers are a successful band of organized and intelligent criminals, and their behavior must reflect this at all times. Once they become aware of the presence of intruders aboard the ship, they will react in an aggressive, efficient, and organized manner to seek out and subdue or slay the intruders. They will not be content to simply remain in their respective starting areas, but will rouse their comrades, band together, and actively seek out party members. In this event, the random encounters table should no longer be used. Because of the small size and restricted nature of the ship, there's a 1 chance in 8 each turn of a random encounter. That doesn't seem that much in comparison. The 2 men are the ship's mate, Bloody Bjorn, and smuggler number 1. Okay. Oh, so we are actually here. We're on the forecastle. The deck area is dominated by a massive shape in the center, which you can identify as the ship's capstan. From it, the anchor chain runs down the chain vent to port of the prow. Of course. Standing just to starboard of the prow and leaning against the bowsprit is a human figure. He appears to be scanning to starboard. This is smuggler number 4. See also a note below the description of Area 3. No, okay, we're good. But yes, if the signaling period is over and they haven't gotten a response or whatever that they want, then various positions are changing from where they are normally. Yeah. So they're just kind of watching the situation, I guess. So I don't know if we can actually see over to the poop deck, but I would imagine so. I don't see why not. I mean, I assume it's a moonlit night, so it's not like pitch black out here. We can probably see figures. So, probably on the other side then, the poop deck, the rear of the ship, we also see 4 more figures kind of looking out towards the coast. So we're gonna have to be real stealthy here. So I think as we climb aboard, Norbert's gonna sneak forward to slit this one guy's throat, smuggler number 4, who has they all have AC of 8, so it's 11 AC, and they have 8 hit points. So he's gonna sneak up. So he's gonna roll dexterity with advantage because he's a thief boy. 10 is not very good. We probably should have set a DC before I rolled. Do we want to set it at 9? Okay, difficulty class. Sneaking up on an inattentive guard is DC 9. So I guess we'll set it at that. Not that he's inattentive, but his focus is elsewhere. He's not expecting anything ever to be behind him. So we'll put it at DC 9. Relatively easy for anyone to sneak up behind. And now we'll do Fate's Crescent to slit his throat with backstab and advantage. And we did 10 damage, so he is dead. Throat slit. And we'll slowly lower his body to the deck. Okay, good. That's one down. Now it gets a lot trickier. Because everyone else is in groups. There's no easy kill here. Unless we want to distract someone with like a sound or something. And our best bet would be the two guys that are on the main deck, right? Which is the mate, Bloody Bjorn, and Smuggler number 1. So Bloody Bjorn he's a 3rd level fighter, 21 hit points. He's got an effective AC of 15. This seems very likely to devolve into a big brawl, a big melee, where we're kind of outgunned. So I'm not quite sure. But I think we'll... Yeah, we probably want to... We probably want to distract one of the guys and, like, bring him over here. So maybe we can just make like a little quiet sound. You know, classic sort of stealth game shit here. Just make like some sort of chirping noise or something, and maybe one of the two guys will come check it out. And maybe noticing that the normal guy here is not at his post. So, yeah, I guess let's do it that way. So we'll kind of stay, we'll stay like here, behind this railing, kind of in cover. And then we'll pull that other guy's body behind cover as well over here. And then we'll make like a little chirping noise. And hopefully, there's a guy like right here. There's a guy here and there's a guy here. So hopefully this guy comes looking. So we'll make the chirping noise and we'll roll on the Oracle to see if a guy comes to check that out. He does. Okay, good. So now, is it the smuggler or is it the mate? Because that's a big question. So the question is it the smuggler? It is. All right, perfect. So, he's gonna, he looks over, he sees the guy's not there, and he's like, hold on. And he's gonna go up the steps real quick to check out what that sound was, where his buddy is, blah, blah, blah. And now Norbert is going to stealth up behind him again without being noticed. Here he fails. And we have no luck token. So now it all falls apart. So, the floorboard of the upper deck creaks. The guy whips around. And, is like, he makes a very audible sound that probably everybody on the ship can hear. And, Norbert will try and slice his throat real quick. But this isn't a backstab anymore, so no, he actually can't kill this guy in one go. Unless he crits, but he's not going to crit. He did pretty close, though. He got 19, so we get blade trauma. Hold on. I actually closed that. So I tried having, AI just whip up a new blade trauma critical list sort of thing. I don't know if it's very good. But we can roll on this one as well. So this is D12. We got the 12. which is the best. And then it's blade severs the head, central brain node, or primary sensory cluster. The body spasms wildly before collapsing. Allies within 30 feet must succeed on a wisdom save or flee. So, yeah, it's an instant kill. It's probably a little severe, but if we rolled on max blade trauma from Tales of Argosa, you get severed neck, where they get a luck con save, and on a failure, they're decapitated. So ours is a little more severe because there's no save, you're just dead. But if they make the save, they're reduced to 0 hit points, and they're dead anyway. So technically, it's the same thing. For most enemies, they're just dead. Yeah, it really... Because 0 hit points for most enemies is just dead. So either way, pretty much dead. So, even though we didn't crit, and we only did 2 damage, technically, we got lucky enough otherwise that we killed him. But, you know, this can be used against us. I just don't know if I often recognize if an enemy rolls a 19 against us. It's, because I really, if I could set up, like, a little notification, just like, oh, you roll a 19, trauma, you know, something like that. But it only applies in combat, not all the time, compared to a crit. So, I don't know. Anyways. Needless to say, the jig is up. They heard this. They heard the guy kind of yelp before blood sprays across the ship. And now shouts of alarm are going up. So this is pretty bad. This is pretty bad. This is what we didn't want to have happen. But at least we killed 2. We killed 2, I guess. So, alright. On the upper deck and main deck, there is the mate. There's the captain. There's the magic user, Punkata. And then 2 more smugglers. So, practically all the named characters are up here, except for the bosun. I don't know quite where he is. He might be in his cabin or something like that. Nope, he's in the crew quarters. There's also the guy in the crow's nest. That's correct. So there's a guy in the crow's nest. So now we need to kind of play this out. And hold on, I think I maybe actually grabbed maps for this. Maybe. Did I grab maps? I saw maps. Okay, yeah, I did grab one map of the main deck. I did select a file. Oh, this stupid error where it doesn't, doesn't upload shit. Fuck. Fuck! I hate when it does this. It doesn't upload my images to Foundry. I don't know why. So I have to like manually... It's not even uploading it to Foundry. It's literally just putting it in the proper folder. So then I have to go through and manually put the image I want to upload into the right folder. So I have to remember where that's being held. And I can never remember. Somewhere in app data, I think. Somewhere in app data. Yes, there it is. Oh my god. No, it's not open. Okay. Fuck. So stupid. Should just be using Owlbear Rodeo. We're gonna get it. We're gonna get it. Okay. We have the ship. Boom. So this is the main deck of the ship. So we can't quite see the upper decks here, but you know, they're just up there. And really we just want this for general placement of characters. So Norbert is like, oh god. No, we gotta make this scale way bigger. Okay, that's a little too big. That works. Okay, and then fucking turn off token lighting, because that's just going to be annoying. There we go. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Then we have Denton here. Grim. Clara. Something like that, basically, is what happened. And then we need some jabronis. And we gotta kind of differentiate these in some way. So we got this guy. So these will be the two normal smugglers, because they're gonna be basically the same. Then for the captain, we'll use this cool knight thing. He's there. For the magic user, just use this kobold sorcerer. And then for the mate, we will use this orc. There. Alright, so we're saying this whole main deck is like a near area. If we're gonna zone this, this is like near to us, and this is far from us. Alright. And we need a number of... I mean, the people are going to hear this below deck, so we kind of have to start figuring out who's down there, where they're down there, so on and so forth. There's the lizard men. A lot of stuff. Crew quarters. Oh, the cargo hold. That's where the bosun is. So the bosun and two smugglers are in the cargo hold, which is number 11. So that's like straight down below here. So they would probably... Where the fuck are these stairs? I think that leads up to the big hatch. So they'll probably come up through that hatch in a relatively short amount of time. They're definitely going to hear all this. So that'll be the bosun and 2 more smugglers. The lizard men are in room number 7, which is just off the main deck. It's actually right underneath us. It's this room. That's the lizard men room. So they're going to probably come out in a relative short amount of time. They're sleeping. Yeah, I mean, I assume they're going to fight. Yeah, they'll probably fight. So they're going to come out in relative short amount of time. And where are our last smugglers? There's 8. We killed 4 so far. No, I think that's it. Because there's 2 more on the poop deck, and then 2 more in the hold. So I think that's it for smugglers. Except there's also the guy in the crow's nest. So we gotta add him as like an archer. Any sort of archery kind of character. It's a drow. Has a crossbow on him. Not too many enemies here that just have a ranged weapon. We'll just go with the drow. So he's right up there. Certainly does not look good, I gotta say that. So I'd probably say like 2 rounds before the ones in the hold charge up. And then we'll say 4 rounds for the lizard men who have to wake up and then get their gear on and stuff like that. Because they're not going to sleep in their gear. That would be insane. Assuming they have gear. It says they have shields. Yeah, they will only use their shield and weapons if meleeing outside their quarters. When fighting in their quarters, they rely on their teeth and claws. So they don't have to put on armor and everything, but they have to grab their weapons and shields and wake up and then come out. So we'll say 4 rounds for them. Alright, that's everything. So, first round, first initiative, Norbert rolls, and he gets a resounding A7. Among all of them, probably the captain has the highest initiative, highest dex. He's got a 15 dex, so he gets +2 on his roll. He gets a 9. So the enemies are all going first. Remember that they have 9. No, this is a far distance away from us. This guy's a 5th level fighter. Got 41 HP. He's got a 15 AC. He's got a +1 longsword. He's gonna fuck us up, man. Should I stat him as a 5th level fighter? Should we do that? Well, let's just take, who do we have? Valorum. And we'll just level him up to level 5. Level 3, he gets a talent of another +2 to strength. He's level 4. And then now level 5. This is pretty dangerous, I think. We'll give him Dex. Okay. He's got 31 HP, 17 AC. He's using a spear, because that's his weapon mastery. We could change it to a long sword, but it's fine. We'll keep it as a spear. That's what it is. So there, this is the new guy. We'll call him Snake Eyes. That's his name. Definitely seems pretty painful. And then for the magic user, it's a 3rd level conjurer with an AC of 14. He knows magic, missiles, sleep, and web. So I don't think I can actually level down this character, unfortunately. So we'd have to make a new mage if we want to represent him. But I think we'll just follow his stats and we can approximate some stuff. He knows magic, missile, sleep, and web. Sleep is useless here. It's never going to affect anything. Web, though, that could be problematic. And magic missile is mostly what he's going to spam. Web creates a near-sized cube of sticky, dense spider web within the spell's range. A creature stuck in the web can't move and must succeed on a strength check opposed by your spellcasting check to free itself. That's not bad, actually, because that has no level requirement, and a lot of creatures are melee only. And if you roll well enough, I mean, it's going to be quite tricky for them to move. Maybe I have to pick up webs sometime. If only Denton just could reclass. Imagine if Denton was a wizard, it would be so insane. Never pick Warlock. Okay, well, no. I mean, Warlock apparently is on the lower end of effectiveness in general. But if you're going to play a Warlock, make sure you're good at melee instead of relying on maybe some spells. It's really a melee class. But then it's like, why wouldn't you just pick a fighter? Because if Denton was a fighter, he'd be a lot better off as well. Yeah. But really, he should have just been a wizard. Anyways, it's too late to cry about that. And then the first mate is a 3rd level fighter, 21 HP. Now, 21 HP, because he has a 15 con, but yeah, Shadowdark I think is a little different. No, but it is possible to have 21 HP. If you max roll at level 1, that would be with +2 con, that would be 10. And then you just have to get 11 more across 2d8, which is honestly not that ridiculous. So, yeah, Grim is just somehow behind the curve. He does have the -1 con, but if he had a +2 instead of -1, he'd be at 21. So, I think that's fair. So, it's basically Grim, but AC of 15. He has a broadsword, and his left hand has an iron hook, which he can attack with at the same time at -2 for 1d3 damage. Okay. He has a 17 strength. This guy's going to be pretty vicious, actually. And he's 3rd level, so we can't sleep him. Alright, so what all happens here, then? They all get to go. So they're going to rally. The 2 smugglers are going to lead the charge. Although if we go by actual squares here and say 30 feet movement, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, if we want to do it that way. If we don't want to do zone-based, that's how far they could get on a run. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 5, 10, 15, 25, 25, 30. And then the other guys are basically the same. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. We'll go by grid, since this is all set up properly. The first mate, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So he can't quite get to us and attack. He does have a dagger that he could throw. And he has 17 strength, so it's like a +3. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's +3. So, I guess he'll throw a dagger at Norbert. D20 +3 against Norbert's AC. That's a hit. And throwing a dagger is just going to be D4 damage. 3. Well, that's a good start for Norbert. Great. Okay. And then the guy in the crow's nest. He'll fire at, he'll fire at Clara, because he's a coward and he's going to shoot the woman first. And he rolls a 3, so he misses in the dark. Alright, then it's our turn. I think Denton is going to cast Sleep. Because as players, you wouldn't know levels of enemies. You wouldn't really be sure what level all these people are or anything like that. You know Sleep has worked in the past against the smugglers, so you might assume that it'll continue to work. And it's kind of his best bet. It's only going to affect the 2 smugglers here if it goes off. Well, it's going to go off, but yeah, it's fine. So, and he's overlooking the whole main deck here, so we're just going to go boop. Success. 30 feet out. 5, 10. Let's see. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Yeah, so it'll catch both of these guys. We're now going to be snoozing. So we'll just hide them. So, snoozing. Oh, and the guy in the crow's nest as well. Haha. Snoozing. Perfect. Good turn from Denton. That his one use. And it continues to be useful. Grim is going to now move around over here, and he'll stab the mate with black silver. 22 is a very solid hit for 6 damage. So he's at... if I'm allowed to adjust this. Yeah, he's at 21, so he's at 15. Correct. Yes, that's all correct. Good. Now Norbert, so this is on the stairs here. Norbert would have to like climb over and then drop down and go around him. But I think that's relatively acceptable for a rogue. I don't think I'd really allow a check, or have a check for that. If it was another character like Clara, I probably would. But you should be able to easily succeed on crap like that. Thieves don't get much, so give him something. And so he's going to use Fake Crescents on him. It's not a backstab or anything. But it is a crit for 10 damage! And we get a luck token. Excellent. So he's down to 5 now. Perfect. Then Clara's going to go. Honestly, I think she's going to blind deafen the big scary Nightman. Yeah, she'll cast that on Snake Eyes. Success. So he is blind. Pretty rough. Pretty rough for him. And that's everybody. Alright, well, we turned the corner pretty good here. So now our new initiative is 8. Theirs is 8. Technically, we're the underdogs here. Well, actually, there's only 3 combatants that are not sleeping, and there's 4 of us. But, yeah, we're technically the underdogs here, so I'll give it to us. Grim is going to stab again. That is a miss. Do I want to luck token that? It'd be really nice if we killed this guy, because then Norbert could go heal off and start backstabbing the Snake Eyes. So we're going to use luck token here to re-roll that attack. 15 is a hit, but only for 4 damage. Fuck. Well, Denton will magic missile him. Yeah, Denton magic missiles. Success, he's dead. Okay, done. Dropped him. And that worked out. So now Norbert is going to peel off 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Shit. We can't quite reach him this turn. Unless I go here and I throw a dagger. Okay, I'll throw the silver dagger. So this is backstab with advantage. Ooh! Pretty sure that's a hit. I don't think we had anybody's AC is higher than that. Now his AC was 15 on the dot. 8 damage. So this guy has 41 health. Now he took 8, so he's down to 33. Clara has to repeat her focus spell, and she has to do this every turn until it breaks. Fuck, see, now I've messed up. Because I was supposed to roll that at the start of the round. Shit. But I think I just cheated. Well, it says a spellcasting check at the start of your turn. So technically, her turn goes whenever I feel like it, you know, because we all go technically at once. So we're allowing it, but now the guy's no longer blind. Shouldn't have wasted that luck token. So everybody went, so our turn is over. This guy's gonna immediately go after Norbert. He's gonna roll. All right, we were using these stats. Okay, so yeah, he's gonna roll his spear attack against Norbert. He critically failed. Okay, so Norbert gets a free attack and response. For 5 more damage. Ho 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 ho! Norbert's too quick for you. Excellent. That worked out. And then the magic user is going to cast magic missile on Clara. So he has like what, a +2 or +3 to the roll, and he gets advantage on it. So he failed. He failed his spellcasting check. It is going to go off once, but now he loses access to Magic Missile. So he does 2 damage to Clara. And that's it for Magic Missile. You suck, dude. So bad. Alright, now no, I would have had the guys come out of the hold, but they're actually being blocked. And this is something that wouldn't have really occurred, or wouldn't I, you know, it wouldn't have happened. That wouldn't have happened had I not been using a map and actually like moving figures around. If this was all Theater of the Mind, I would have just been like, yeah, out of the hold come, you know, 3 more guys. But now they're like underneath there and they're like shouting to their captain to move so that they can climb up out of the hold. So we'll see what comes of that. But yes, it is now a new round. And then in 2 more rounds, the lizard men will emerge. So our initiative is an 18. Theirs is a 13. So we go first again. Norbert is going to go invisible. I'm going to remember this now. He's going to go invisible. He's invisible for 3 rounds. And it doesn't go away when he attacks or anything. All it says is stealthy. Once per day, you can become invisible for 3 rounds. That's it. So it seems pretty insane, because then now I can move over here and backstab the mage. Backstab with advantage. 10 damage. That is definitely a hit. And this guy has 8 HP. So I just stab him right through the neck. And he drops. So that's good. Grim then. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So close. But recognizing that those other guys are trying to get out of the hold, I'm going to spend my move, double move, to get here. So we can clamp down on the hold there, stand on it. Denton is going to magic missile the... oh, hold on, you're dead. He's going to magic missile Snake Eyes. Success for 1d4 damage. Just 1. Yeah, classic Denton here. Oh, not that. Okay, hold on. Now I'm getting numbers mixed up. When did I do 5 damage? Oh, I threw the dagger at him. No, I counterattacked. Counterattacked for 5, but I also threw the dagger for 8. So he's taken 13 damage out of his 40. Oh, right, I rolled him up as a fighter. Yeah, so I just rolled him up. Okay, we're just using these numbers. So he took 13 damage so far, which means that he's at 18, actually. Keep opening up his night thing, but we're using this stat. Oh, which means he probably should have 17, except he's not wearing banded plate, he's wearing chain. And a small helmet to negate crits. Which, I don't... Did I crit him? No, I didn't crit him. No, I didn't. I never crit him. Okay. So, he's not wearing banded plate. He's wearing chain. Which will lower his... And does he have a shield? No, he should have an AC of 15. I agree. So if we just remove the shield, that's appropriate. Okay, fine. So Denton went, Grim went, Norbert went. Clara now can do something, but not really. She could fire her crossbow. Suppose. It's pretty miserable. She has to roll a 16 or higher. So a 25% chance of hitting is not great. So she's just going to move in case she needs to heal somebody. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. We'll go there. Okay, so then we went first that round. Yep, so now he's going to move here. Off of the hold. Off the grate. And he's going to try to attack Grim. Miss. Yeah, good luck getting through Grim's armor there, man. You have to roll a 14 or higher. And you are left without many compatriots. So, I think this is where the guys down there, recognizing that they can't get up, might go around. Because they can go through a door and then go up the steps here and come out here. So that'll probably take them a couple more rounds to do so. So at the end of the next round, the lizard men are going to come out. And the end of the following round, the 3 more guys will come out. Okay, so hopefully we have Snake Eyes dead by then. New round then. Our initiative is 7. His is 7. If you count all the combatants possible, we are still the underdogs. We're going first. So Grim is going to counterattack against Snake Eyes. That is a hit for 7 damage. He's down to 11. Norbert, still invisible. I'm going to still give him the backstab. Bates Crescent. Crit for 8 damage. He's down to 3. Denton will magic missile. Success. 4 damage. Snake Eyes is done. Okay. Easy. And then Clara is going to move up to Norbert to cast Cure Wounds. Success for 2d6. He's back to full. Oops. Okay. And that's everybody. So now at the end of that round, the lizard men are going to pop out. We should just have stats for lizard men. Lizard folk. I don't know what their stats are looking like, but there you go. Okay, they're level 2 creatures. 11 HP, 1d6 damage. If we compare that to what they say, 12 HP, like a 14 or 15 AC. Basically, yeah, 1d6 damage. So, yeah, I think this is fine. I think this is good enough. So they're going to show up, and then at the end of the next round, the other 3 will show up. And then that'll be pretty much everybody on the boat. So our initiative this round is 6. And theirs is 12 or something like that. Yeah, 12. So they're going to get to go first. And unfortunately, Clara is in a bad position here. So they're going to move up here. Move up here, move up here. So we'll have 2 of them swing at Clara, 1 swing at Norbert. Nope, he's invisible still, so 1 swing at Grim. Okay, so the ones on Clara. We got a 16 and a crit. Ouch. She takes 11 fucking damage because of that crit. He's down. Damn it, Clara! If only you just stayed still. Okay, and then the one on Grim. Critical failure, he gets to counter. 7 damage to this one. Perfect. Okay, our turn. Denton can't use sleep because he'll put the whole group to sleep. So he's gonna have to magic missile the one that that Grim just hit. He succeeds. 4 damage, which is just enough to kill him. Excellent. That worked out. This is Norbert's last round of invisibility, so he'll sneak around and stab this one. 6 oh, wait a minute. Plus 2d6. 13 damage. Kills him. Then Grim steps over to stab at this one. 8 damage. Putting him at 3. And then Clara has to roll a d4. 1 round. Okay, so technically I don't know exactly how that's meant to work. If she's dead right now because we didn't heal her. I don't know if you're supposed to roll like when you go down immediately. And that's how many rounds you have. I think some DMs roll this privately so that you don't know how many rounds you have. I've been fudging it for sure. A dying character rolls 1d4 plus their con mod. Oh, okay. Yeah, I forgot about the con mod. So she actually has 3 rounds. On their turn, they die in that many rounds unless healed or stabilized. On each of their subsequent turns, they get a d20. Okay, so in 3 rounds from now, Clara will die if not stabilized or healed. Okay, then now the this guy's gonna make a morale check. He fails. So on his next, no, his turn is now. Yeah, he's gonna just dive into the water. He's not having this. He's out of here. And then the bosun and 2 more smugglers show up. And it does say that they might surrender the boat. So I think that's could be something that happens. And they see the captain dead, the magic user dead, they see multiple other people dead. They see these 3 like sleeping, but maybe they just think they're dead. So it's them 3 against the 3 of us, I guess. I don't think they... I don't know. Maybe they are okay with their odds. We'll do 1 round, and then we'll have them roll morale regardless. Okay, so new round. Our initiative is 13. Theirs is like 8 or 9. So we get to go first. Denton's got to get to Clara to try and stabilize. Norbert's invisible. Grim's going to try to hold him off while the other 2... So he's going to attack this guard here. This normal smuggler. He definitely butchers him. Head. Well, that's good. That's a blow to morale. Norbert is going to try to stabilize. Really should have bought those bandages. He got it! Excellent. Clara's safe. Okay, so Denton's just going to magic missile that other guard back there. That other smuggler. Success for 2 damage. So he's at... No, he's at 6 out of 8, technically. Okay. And they're gonna fight, but then they're gonna roll morale. So this guy rolls against Grim. He succeeds, actually. And he's gonna roll his longsword. They each have a short sword, so it's d6 damage. 5 damage to Grim. Oof, gets a good cut in. And then there's the bosun. 3rd level fighter. Armed with a broadsword and that hook. So let's see if he hits with the broadsword. 3rd level fighter with weapon mastery and broadsword. And he has a what strength? 17 strength for +3. I think that's a hit. So this is probably going to be 1d8 plus 2. Yes. Ooh, 10 damage. And then he's going to roll for the hook with -2. But with the strength... No, strength? Yeah, with the strength. I think that's also a hit for 1d3 damage. And he rolled 3. fucking hell? He just dropped Grim in one go. Damn. He rolled a fucking 19 on that hook. And then happened to max the D3 damage. Shit. That might not, that might nullify the fucking morale check there. And Grim has -1 con, so he's in a much worse shape than Clara was. This is bad now. But it's a new round. We get 20, they get 14 or 13. So, on Grim's turn, he rolls D4, so he has 2 rounds to live. Denton has to just rush over there, so 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Norbert's gonna have to step up over here to stab this guy, just normally. Okay, he kills him. That swings things a bit further in our direction, which is good. So this guy now is gonna step up to Norbert, and if he drops Norbert, it's pretty much over, I think. So hopefully he misses. He's rolling his D20. He hits for 7. Yeah, it's a 17, so he hits 1d8 plus 2. 9 damage. He drops Norbert in one go. Christ. This one bosun. I can't believe his luck. He's a fighter, but it's just... Oh, man. If Clara had been up, it wouldn't have been as bad. I think it's a TPK. I think it's over. Denton can't win this. He just can't. He can't put him to sleep, and all he has is Magic Missile. So he can't win this. The guy has 19 HP and like a 15 AC. His longsword's essentially useless. And if I stabilize people, that doesn't get them back up. The only thing I can maybe allow myself is that characters that are stabilized still get the D20 roll every turn to see if they get back at 1 HP. But okay, it's a new round, I suppose. We get like... Yeah, I mean, he goes first, so he's going to step over and swing. He crit. It's over. It's a TPK. Holy shit, I can't believe we got that far just to fuck up there. I thought this was done. And I was so close to rolling the morale. And I was like, no, they're going to fight one round. Oh my god. Yeah, I'm gobsmacked, man. I can't believe it ended there. The fatal mistake was fucking Clara coming off of the top end. And I'm like, well, she'll just go down there in case someone needs healing. And then the lizard men burst through, which, as a DM, I knew was going to happen, but I forgot about, I guess. And as a player, you wouldn't know, so it kind of makes sense. And then she gets mobbed and went down. And it's over. I mean, unless he survives 2d8 plus 2. He does. He has 1 health. But, I mean, Clara's d20 roll, nothing. Grimm's d20 roll, nothing. Norbert gets a d4, so he's around for 4 rounds still. But Grim, I think, is on, like, his last round. He's got 1 more round. What is Denton going to possibly do? He's going to swing his longsword. He misses. And then new initiative, we roll shit. He goes first. He rolls his attack. Doesn't really matter. He hits. I mean, he's got like +5 or something on the roll. So he hits and Denton goes down. Clara gets a nothing. Grim gets nothing. He's dead. Norbert gets nothing. Yeah. So that's it. There's not much I can do about it. Fuck. I'm really pissed off about this. The last guy. The last fucking guy. Why didn't I just make them roll morale? It was 3 against like 2, and so many others were down and dead. Why wouldn't I make them roll morale? I can't believe he took down Grim in 1 turn. That was the most exceptional odds of anything. Fucking exactly 13 damage he did. Because he has that stupid hook. Yeah, I'm pretty upset about this. That's not how you want it to end. But you have to, I mean, yeah, you have to abide, right? I can't just be like, oh, let's rewind, let's not do that. Even though I do that all the time in Cataclysm. Now, if you really wanted to coddle a little bit, and you wanted the story to keep going in a fashion, you could say that we're taken like prisoner and we're sold into slavery or something like that, and we lose like, you know, you lose all your money, you lose all your equipment, you lose everything, and you're taken to some strange land and you become slaves, and then you go from there. You could do that if everyone was interested in following up on that, which, depending on how much you care about your characters, yeah, I could see. To be honest, I mean, I don't really care about the characters, I guess. They're all pretty shitty. I mean, even Grim, who's the best, is still kind of shitty for a fighter. His only thing is that he has +2 strength, which isn't that good. And he has -1 con, -1 dex. I mean, there isn't really anything that special about him. Even as a dwarf fighter, he had less health than, like, the first mate did. So yeah, none of these characters were really good, and obviously I didn't role play or anything to really develop personalities. But I don't know, it's like, it's an investment. I put a lot of time into leveling them up, and we won that big battle, and it was like, yeah. And then after this, we were probably gonna go, yeah, I almost certainly would have leveled up to 4, which is pretty nice. And then we were going to get a bunch of money and start building up towards a stronghold. And, yeah, them's the breaks. That's old school play. And you could have Denton, instead of swinging his longsword, he could have dove into the water and maybe survived. And if I was playing in a group, and I was playing Denton, God help me, that was my character, maybe I would have just dove into the water and fled and then survived, because then I'd be level 3. Almost 4, and everyone else would be level 1. So I'd kind of be a big shot, and we could just cheese everything with sleep some more. But I'd also maybe just consider killing off Denton to get a better character. I don't know, I'm bummed. And I said that if it was a TPK, that campaign's almost certainly over, but now I'm conflicted, because it's like, I want it to keep going. Damn. I knew as soon as I failed that stealth roll, though, that it was going to be kind of disastrous. That was a big fight. I'm amazed that we did as well as we did. The sleep was good. Blinding that guy and standing on the hold like that was good. And we got some good hits on the snake eyes. And we one-shot the mage. It was all pretty good. Yeah, okay. That's it. That's it. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it might be over here. This might just be the end. I might still feel the urge to pick it back up again at level 1 with new characters and do more Shadowdarking. I don't know. We'll see. I'm also kind of still interested in Tales of Argosa, but I'm actually interested in, like, rewriting Tales of Argosa a bunch and, like, redoing it. I think it's also a pretty good framework, but there's just certain aspects of Argosa that I'd like to change, whereas a lot of people are just, like, in love with it. I do love a bunch of aspects of it. I was thinking about it. But, like, for one, I'd like character creation to have a bit more choice to it. Because it feels like it's in just sort of this weird position where it's like, it's definitely crunchier than Shadowdark. There's a lot more text here for each character. You know, there's a lot more variety, but there's also no choices, which makes character creation pretty quick, relatively, compared to actually reading through. Like, instead of sitting here and it's like, okay, well, you're going to read through 12 of these alchemy and mechanica things to make an informed decision. You're just rolling a couple times and taking what you get. So there's not really any point in reading it. But then at the same time, you're also probably going to read it all because that determines what sort of class you want to pick. So I don't know. It's sort of iffy. So I just wish there was more choice here or a template system. And I guess I might be interested in making templates for all the classes here, so that there is some choice, but it's not overwhelming choice. Templates involving different equipment, different skills, and different of these kind of special abilities. I think that could be pretty interesting. That's probably what I would do. Yeah, I love the unique feature idea. I like yeah, I don't know. I like the reroll concept. And I don't think I'd strip that out. But I might strip out skills. I'm not quite sure. I think I'd have to play a bit. The whole equipment section, the whole currency and equipment, everything would get all stripped out entirely. I would remove all these pages, and we would go with other systems equipment lists. Yeah, just across the board. I wouldn't do a silver standard. We'd just do normal gold standard. Everything would change there. I think I'd take Shadow of the Weird Wizard's weapon properties and use all that. But I'd probably keep this column, maybe, of the natural 19 choices. Because some of these, I think, you know, having 1d12 versus 1d10 plus 2 versus the polearm gets 1d6 plus 6. I mean, that's like guaranteed solid blade trauma, which is a big bonus to polearms. But that's only, well, if you're rolling up like a fighter and you have the expanded crit range. Oh, I completely forgot about the expanded crit range for fighters that I put in, where they actually crit on a 19. I don't think that came up too often, and I was just excited about the blade trauma. But I think usually if I got the blade trauma, they were dead anyways. But yes, I forgot about that. Armor, I'd also take just mostly everything from Axe, but weapon properties from Shadow the Weird Wizard. The roll under system I really like, but then the great success, terrible failure. That's the biggest sort of thing. It's like I don't Well, it's one of the biggest things. I don't know if I can strip it out of the whole system, because a lot is based on that. But it's also such a clunky system. That's only if I'm playing on table. If I'm playing, in person. In a VTT, where it has all the numbers and tells you and stuff, it's not really that big of a deal, and it's just kind of okay. So I think that's all good. And then the rest of my headaches, a lot of it was just due to like the Hexcrawl and shit that I was doing. So just ignore practically all of that. Because combat itself is pretty relatively simple. The only thing that was really odd was the infinite free attacks, the infinite amount of opportunity attacks with no retreat option. So I'd prefer to have some way to like do a safe move to move out of like a fighting withdraw kind of thing. And I like even if you just say that like you have to give up your action in order to move without being attacked, it's like fine, perfect, excellent. You know, people are gonna do that. Like you're sort of fending off your foe with like sword blocks or whatever, however you want to explain it. But some way to avoid just opportunity attacks, I think, is pretty good. And then the exploit system, yeah, I like quite a bit. I struggle to use it sometimes, but yeah, I like it. The rest of all combat and conditions and dying and everything, I think is pretty good and solid. The short rest system, I think, was pretty interesting. Then the magic. Do I like the magic system, or do I want to just strip it out entirely? It's meant to be a low fantasy system, so it's meant to not emphasize magic users at all, which again is iffy for me as a player. I really do like magic a lot. I think it would be pretty easy to just replace the whole magic system if you wanted. It would make them more powerful, sure, but if that's what you're looking for, that's not really a big problem. It's a system that's kind of separate from anything else, so it is possible to just rip it out and replace it. So I could see doing that. And then obviously, yeah, I really like the XP system. And then everything else is kind of, what extra stuff that we didn't really get into. So I think, yeah, I mean, maybe there's more to Tales of Argosa than I gave credit. And maybe we should give it another try. But I'd also like to give Glog a try, as being like another OSR game, but with just infinite amount of classes and stuff, and like relatively simple rules like Shadowdark. The thing that Shadowdark has going for it is that it's a very popular system, has a lot of third-party support, has a lot of first-party support, and it has like physical material that I can just have. And like the Shadowdark book is just really nice to hold and to leaf through. Yeah, I like that. Whereas the Glog is entirely just in the ether, and it's all just a mishmash of community stuff, and there's no first party whatsoever, because it's all just like community driven sort of stuff, and it's not very popular even within the OSR community, so it is really just on the fringe, but it does interest me. But I don't know, maybe we should give Tales of Argosa another shot. I was too harsh on it, maybe, because I was just so annoyed by the Hexploration rules. I should have just stripped that all out immediately, but I wanted to run it as is. And now that we did, now we can fuck with it. So yeah, maybe we'll do another, instead of just doing a module like the Gorge, Ironwood Gorge or whatever, maybe we should do just an open kind of Hexcrawl like this, with Tales of Argosa, with a bunch of house rules to change shit. And I won't waste your time coming up with all these templates on camera, because that would it's probably going to take hours. But maybe I'll sit here on my own and not record and come up with templates for all these characters, for all these classes, and then we'll look at that. Yeah, I'm kind of interested in doing that, so that's probably what we'll do. So we'll leave Shadowdark behind for now. Shadowdark still is the premier OSR system for me. especially with a handful of changes. And I did really enjoy this. I mean, we recorded quite a few videos. Actually, hold on. How many of these videos did I record for this little campaign? Let's see here. Hold on. I have to figure out where this started. No, that was Barrow Maze. Then we looked at Tales of Argosa for three videos? Hold on, what video was this? Oh yeah, Tales of Argosa was 3 videos, right? Okay, and then we did this. So this is the 14th video of this little campaign, this Hexcrawl campaign with Shadowdark. 14! And these average like 2.5 hours, so damn, man. And what's crazy is, like, we didn't really develop anything outside of this single small region. We put a big city here, and we had the tower we teleported to, but everything else was done in here. So, pretty fun stuff. Obviously spent a good amount of time with the Sinister Secret of Saltmarsh. So I guess I can kind of review this, because we were practically done with it. Overall, yeah, I'd say it's a very solid module. But honestly, you probably just want to go to the newer version, the Ghosts of Saltmarsh. I don't know. From what I saw of Ghosts of Saltmarsh for this part, the part that just copied the original, it was pretty damn close and just had kind of better imagery and kind of rewritten, clearer text and, you know, shorter text and stuff. So I think probably you're just fine with the newer version. The other content for the new version, I have no idea. I didn't look at. So all the expanded material after this, I have no idea if it's good or not. I think it generally gets pretty positive reception. So if you're looking for sort of a nautical themed one, which I think is where it goes after this, is more ship piratey sort of stuff across maybe islands or something. Yeah, it's probably pretty good. But this, just running this, the Sinister Secret, is not really nautical. You know, half of it is in the haunted house and the little caves, and then the second half is you taking over a boat just by boarding it. So, not really nautical themed. So yeah, I would definitely recommend Sinister Secret of Saltmarsh, however you want to run it. I think it holds up pretty well even decades later. 44 years later. Jesus. Yeah, so I wanted to run a really old one to see how it is, and yeah, I think it holds up relatively well. For like an OSR kind of gameplay, of course. And that little under the armpit shot, I love that. Alright, anyways, so that's going to do it for Shadowdark. I'm going to spend some time tweaking Tales of Argosa, and we'll start up something fresh there. Can't really get enough solo RPGs. For now, though, my name is Mang. This has been Solo Roll Manging with Shadowdark. And I'll see you fine folks around.